Alrighty, guys, we are rolling. Welcome to the next episode of Fate, everyone. On today's show, I have none other than Kimberly Meredith. She is a world renowned celebrity medical intuitive. She's a healer, an influencer. She has a best selling book out called Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing. She has an amazing story, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Welcome to your Fate, Kimberly. Thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about being here.
I am excited too. I'm completely fascinated. Um, I think we should dive right in and start from the beginning. From what I understand, you had a couple of near-death experiences and you came back with gifts to heal. And can you tell me how you came to be the healer that you are today? Can you start from the beginning?
Yeah, I had abilities when I was little. So they kind of circled back again after I had the NDE. I was born seeing paranormal energies around me, and I had my eyes were blinking as young as 6 months old. So they already were activated even as a baby. So in the book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, have it right here. Uh, the intro of it talks about how my eyes were blinking and I was communicating with spirit through my eyes when I was as young as 6 months old. And I pushed it down because I was bullied and teased about the blinking. And one of my parental figures was concerned about it. And my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, encouraged it. And my maternal grandmother, who was Italian, um, said that my great grandmother was a shaman. So she was practicing this in Italy, but I didn't know any of this. I was just a baby. So I was just doing the healing and things when I was really little. But in 2013, flash forward, I had a horrific car accident and they were one after another. So it's like one and then another one. And I had two NDE out of body experiences, and they were profound experiences, what brought me back to the blinking eyes. So the eyes stopped blinking all my life. They did not blink after I pushed it away when I was a baby. And then they restarted reappearing, the blinking eyes, after my profound out of body experiences. And those out of body experiences were life threatening. I had, completely lost oxygen to the brain, and they had to revive me. And I saw Christ. I saw the energy of Jesus. I saw the energies of my past relatives on the other side. And it was really something that it's very hard to even right now even talk about because it was just like unbelievable experience where I was in the hospital for over 3.5 months. I spent 2 years
Wow.
in a wheelchair. And even right now, the doctors are like, I can't even believe you're here because the x-rays and all of the different scans still my head and my neck are like kind of teetering on, I needed surgery. So, and I did have a lot of therapies and things, but what really healed me was the Holy Spirit.
How old were you when you had your first NDA? At what age did this happen? With this, how long ago was this?
My two near death experience were 9 years ago, around nine.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how long you felt like you were with Christ or beyond or in that kind of spirit realm while did you see them working on your body? Were you in another dimension? What were you experiencing when that was happening, when you were going through that?
I was experiencing above my body and below my body, watching that. And it was an out of body experience, watching yourself above and below. Yeah. And experiencing an amazing amount of energy coming through. And the after of it was when it really started happening, which was the communication with spirit, like I do now, which doesn't leave. I became a full blown trance channel. My life completely left from being in the entertainment world, which I was an on-set camera, um, medical technical advisor, and also I
Oh,
worked in hospitals as a nurse assistant and always served, but I was a very successful medical technical advisor in the entertainment world and also worked in hospitals and completely was disabled in a wheelchair and was told I would never walk again, had a collar. And in the book, it talks about how the first healing I did was on my agent, where he came to my house and said, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, I'm in so much pain because the subdermal hematoma was so bad. I was in such bad pain with the concussions. I was on so many medications. I didn't really know what they were going to do. We didn't know what was going to happen to me at that point. So I started praying, and some of my girlfriends were coming over. They were doing something I'd never heard of, which was called Reiki, and the healing energy of the omnipresent coming through. And I was really, my mom had a very bad addiction to alcohol my whole life. And my father was Methodist. My stepfather was Jewish. So we converted to Judaism and we were raised in a Orthodox family. And so I always was brought up Jewish, but my mom was Italian Catholic. So I was all of a sudden praying in Catholicism. I was praying Hail Marys, which I didn't know why, but I was doing that. And I was doing healing with this cold laser machine that my uncle had sent to me. I was doing everything I could to stop the pain in my head. So I started to rub my hands together, and my girlfriend was coming over, and she had worked with me on a lot of television shows. At this point, I had done hundreds of television shows on camera. I'd done Grey's Anatomy, All My Children, Scrubs, um,
oh yeah. I could use you on my show that I'm working on now.
hundreds and hundreds of shows, setting them up, making them to look as real as possible, brothers and sister.
Yeah.
And also, I acted in them. I would do on camera and off camera, but also really setting them up in detail. And in the book, it talks about how right when I got hit by the car, I had gotten one of the best shows I'd ever wanted, which was called Getting On with Laurie Metcalf and Niecy Nash. And Laurie Metcalf had
Mm.
come to see my grandmother at the nursing home because it was about an old senior home that we were doing. And so I had to let that go because, of course, I had my near death experience and I couldn't go back to the hospital in a I couldn't go back to the set in a wheelchair. So when my agent was sitting on the couch, it was the most profound moment. And I was in my collar, I was in the wheelchair. I heard in my left ear where I hear spirit coming to the left side of my ear, put your hands. He was going in for surgery. He had a torn Achilles heel and he was sitting on the couch and he said, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, I don't know. I'm disabled now. I can't go out to do any medical technical stuff or anything like that. I'm in so much pain. I'm just healing myself with my hands and this machine. It was a cold laser machine my uncle had sent me. And he goes, oh. And I said, I think I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray on your wound, your Achilles heel. He's like, okay. So I took my hands, I rubbed them together, and my hands got really hot. And I put it on the back of his Achilles heel. And I said the Hail Mary. And the Hail Marys are not really, for me, they don't feel Catholic. They feel like they come from the Native American, they come from all over, they're very universal. And she was Jewish. Jesus is Jewish. So I said them in Hebrew and I also said them in the Hail Mary full of grace, the Lord is with you. And, he's this ex football player. He works out at Gold's Gym. He's an agent. I won't say the agency's name, but it's a big agent. And he's like, okay, I guess. So he was like, this is weird. So anyway, and so I'm like, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. And I'm going through his Achilles heel. And all of a sudden, I'm getting chills right now. My right eye starts blinking and my left eye starts blinking. And I'm sort of doing this like surgery, like kind of pushing it in and one hand's pushing the other in. And I start like going like this and like that. And he goes, that feels interesting. And I'm like, Holy Mother Mary of God. And then I'm like, like that. And then I bent over and I picked up my laser, just a cold laser machine. And I didn't really know how to really use it that well because my girlfriend was coming over and she's kind of like, I guess I'll kind of figure it out. We didn't take class yet. And so I like pushed in some numbers. I took it, put it on there for a couple of seconds. I put it back and I'm like, that's it. And he's like, okay. And he left. So 2 days later, I get a call from him and he's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? He said, I'm healed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, they canceled my surgery at Cedars. Like, they did? He's like, yeah, you're a healer. And I never had heard that word before because I'm not in that world. And I'm like, what's a
Right.
healer? He goes, you healed me. The doctor canceled my surgery. It never came back out. The Achilles heel is completely healed. And I
Wow.
had never understood like felt like that before, but I remember healing my grandmother when I was little, just like rubbing my hands. And I knew when I was a nurse assistant, I would always tell the doctors, that person is going to be healed. And they'd go, no, they have 24 hours to live. And I'd go, no, they're going to be healed. And they would be healed. And when he said that to me, something clicked and I went, oh, he goes, I don't need surgery. It never came back out. I'm healed. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he said, I'm going to start sending you some people from Gold's Gym and you could start doing what you just did to me and some healing. He goes, you have nothing else to do. And I'm like, this is so bizarre because I used to be a very well-known medical technical advisor. And so how could this happen? So it was changing in a dimension. I shifted from this dimension to another dimension. And I said, well, what do I do? And he goes, well, you've got to get a Reiki bed in your house and I guess you won't charge anybody because you don't have a license. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So the next thing I know, I started having um, these gold gyms guys come over and it was very surreal because then they were coming over and I was starting to learn as I scanned over their body without them saying anything. I'd say, did you have a meniscus tear here? And they'd go, yeah. And I said, did you have a rotator cuff tear here? And they go, yeah. They were so kind and friendly to me. And I'd say, I was like blind. And I'd say, I'm going to do a healing. They say, okay. And then I do the laser. It turned into 2 to 5 to 10 to 100. Hundreds of people
Wow.
finding out about me throughout Los Angeles. Hundreds coming through my apartment. Then I would get private calls going to their homes. Word got out all over LA. What's the bleep? The secret. People coming in my home, filmmakers. The next thing I knew, my fiance that was living with me, I'll never forget. He walked down the stairs. He's like, no, this is over. He's like, this can't go on here anymore. I'm like, what's the matter? I didn't even notice what's going on. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, this is out of control. I was really in this. So as I was doing the healing, I was being healed. I didn't have pain anymore.
Oh, wow. So you have officially healed your whole body since your terrible accidents. You are fully whole now.
I started walking. I started regenerating my energy in my neck because when I do the healings on others, God gives me back the healing to me. Now, as I kept healing other people, I started regenerating my own healing in my body. And I started walking. I started getting better. I started receiving Holy Spirit through my body. And that's when my assistant said, start writing your book. And I started recording the
Yeah.
book, The Awakening to the Fifth Dimension in a recorder.
When you say the fifth dimension, for people that aren't familiar with dimensions and what that means, can you kind of explain what what you're talking about when you say awakening to the fifth dimension?
Yes. So the fifth dimension is something that Kimberly Meredith didn't come up with. There's been dimensional theories going on from Hawkins, from Darwin. I mean, dimensional theories, black hole, all of that is from we came into the world. We came in the world in a higher dimensional frequency. We fell down to the third dimensional frequency from ego. I always say ego or I go. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So the ego is a third dimensional frequency, which is when we're in an ego relationship, it goes nowhere. You can't go anywhere when you're in the ego, which is 3D. We're in a 3D world right now, which is we're struggling in fear, greed, worry. Um, this is a 3D survival right now. Fifth dimension is many dimensions. There's 12 dimensions. There's many dimensions, but to get into to the fifth dimension is where I work in, which is this magical dimension where healing is fast, with more, and then we want to be in a more organic lifestyle. We want the grocery stores to have no LED lights. We want everything to be more free and loving and honest, generating high vibrations. The fifth dimensional book this word of this title was not created by me. Publishers created it because they saw with their own eyes fifth dimensional healings happen at the expos. They saw dissolving of tumors fly off people's bodies. Fourth dimension is more of a nature. Fourth dimension is spirituality, which is beautiful. Fifth dimension is a hike up. It's a multiple step upward where we need to be at. And then we go on like the eighth dimension, ninth dimension, which is really important also to get in. So I work mostly with the afterlife. I get messages from the other side. I have many things go on. Many people want their gifts awakened right now, and people can awaken their gifts. But we as a society need to live more in a fifth dimensional consciousness. We can't survive in a third dimensional world anymore.
I agree. I mean, I really feel like we are as humanity on the precipice of going into a direction that we're not going to be able to pull back from. If people understood that if they could transform their emotional makeup and have a little bit more ability to, instead of just feeling your emotions, recognizing your emotions and thinking about them and understanding that when you're resonating in fear and hate and shame and unworthiness, that is what the universe is going to show you. And to make that transition is not easy. It's hard. And if more people were of the understanding of that, I think we could literally be living in a different world. We literally could change the consciousness of this world, which is currently it's really vibrationally low right now. I mean, you can feel it in the air that there's more negativity and more fear and people living in lack, people living in survival mode. People are not able to have joy, have creativity, have the ability to rise above their circumstances, and they feel powerless. And I think that if people took their power back, their emotions back, and realized that your emotions are kind of manifesting your world. So it's fascinating that you're able to even just lift that veil and educate people on their ability to um, live on a different plane and entertain a new way of being and walking in the world. I love it. Can you tell me a little bit about the blinking? Because I know that you said you were blinking as a child and then, you weren't doing it anymore. What is your process for the blinking and hearing spirits and healing? Can you tell me what happens to you during that process when you're scanning?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing about this being a very
Sure.
exciting and painful time for everybody. But it is a process that science and spirituality is converging together. And I
Yeah.
want people to understand that in the next year, this is a time, and it wraps around to the blinking also, that people are
Yeah.
going to be ultimately reaching a higher dimensional state of consciousness within their own self. And running from it is not a good idea. Running and numbing out won't get you to your own awakening. So my awakening and who I am, my blinking is how I communicate with spirit. And I've been doing it since I was a baby. and it came back after my NDEs. Okay. So, but you may have your own way that you communicate with spirit. And some people may say, but I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know who I am. I don't know what my abilities are, Kimberly. And that's okay because everybody here is a rock star. Everybody does have something to do, or you wouldn't be born in this time. You wouldn't have come here right now. And so maybe you have like one gift, but maybe you have another gift. And maybe you say, well, I'm an actor, but I'm not getting work. But maybe there's something else on top of that of you being an actor. Maybe you're supposed to be of service right now. Or maybe someone may say, well, I'm a mom, but I want to do something else too. Or maybe there's a fixed thing that you are doing. Like I'm also a mentor. So that's why I'm bringing this up right now. So maybe there is something you're doing. And so what's happened right now since COVID is that a lot of people are having companies or businesses and they're not flourishing like they were because we're having a time where we're kind of having a time. So yeah,
Mhm.
understand that we have to kind of go, okay, well, maybe we need to reinvent that and rearrange that so we're not fixated on that. Being flexible is really important. So what I do with a lot of people is through the blinking, I do what's called soul frequency and soul codes with the blinking. So a lot of times people will come to me and say, okay, so how do I take this here and go to there in 2025 and 2026? And I do that through the blinking and the codes. And so that's something that I communicate with. And these are communications with not only your guides, but through like Albert Einstein and Edgar Casey and multidimensional beings. And you have multidimensional beings. You're a multidimensional being. We're all multidimensional beings, and we like to tap into that. So it's not always, it is a lot of the Holy Spirit, but also you have a spirit team,
Yeah.
and I have a spirit team.
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm just saying it's an exciting time but a painful time, but we can move forward.
It is. I mean, they say that the reason why there are so many people here on the planet is because everybody has come here to see the great transition
Yeah. It's the awake.
that everyone
Yeah.
the great
Yeah,
awakening.
and it's
Yes.
somebody asked me the other day 'cause, they said, "Are we ascending right now?" And I said, "No, we're not ascending right now. We're awakening. We will ascend, but not yet."
You can definitely feel that there's a lot happening within the human consciousness right now, and it is I did I did a little episode the other day about the state of our humanity, and it is just and there are plenty of really beautiful souls out there, but I just think there's also we're in a time where there are a plethora of people out there that are really struggling in life with so many things. Life is become increasingly difficult on this planet, and people are confused as to why they can't seem to get it together, whether it be their personal relationships, their careers, their sole purpose, finding their joy. It's a difficult time to be alive right now.
Yeah, it's, it's learning that that's correct. It's learning that we are time shifting and where there's a timeline happening, and it's understanding that there's techniques to learn how to do this at this moment. And my guys are saying May, June, July, August. August is going to be a little lighter for us, and then September, October, November, and after December, it will even be better. And the understanding is that the word flexible comes up for me, and learning that we may have to, like I said, shift a few things around, come up with a few more ideas, elevating our consciousness right now, learning a practice. The fifth dimension is a great place to be right now, and learning to be open, learning about these new ideas as this vast movement is happening at the moment. We need to refocus on what's best for us, how we can stay healthy in the next, when I
Yes.
say 2024, 2025, and 2026 is really bright. 2025 is looking like it's going to have some, real ups and downs.
That is fascinating. When you in your day-to-day life, are you constantly getting downloads, getting information? Are you constantly getting your spirit guides telling you throughout the day various information? Or how are you typically getting your downloads?
Thank you. I'm what you call there's psychics, there's mediums, and there's trance channelers and healer. So I'm what you call a trance medium healer psychic. So a trance medium healer psychic. So I'm always trance medium. I'm always trancing. So I always get messages all the time. I don't turn it off. It doesn't go off. So say I'm out about or with somebody, it's very hard when I go to dinner because somebody will be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Everyone's always asking me something like, is my grandma here or what should we eat? Is this okay? Is this got anything bad in it? So, like, if I go to dinner or something, my aunt might say, "Is this clean?" Because
Yeah, yeah.
also when I read or I am editing, my eyes blink, whether it's good or not, or something like that. So I'm constantly trancing.
What is Edgar Casey, the fact that you channel him really is fascinating to me. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of information you get from him and maybe quickly who Edgar Casey is? I mean, he's famous but there's plenty of people out there that aren't familiar with him or didn't know who he was. Can you tell us a little bit about Edgar and the information you're acquiring from him?
Yeah, I never knew about him either until somebody discovered me when I first became channeling the medical intuitive information and not only channeling the medical intuitive information, but doing it in record time, very fast and saying words medically that I never even knew about. Like even in the nursing profession, I would not know. And even doctors may not know some of the things that I was coming up with when I would scan a body. So I would like scan a person. I'd been tested at three major institutes. I'm not sure if we said them here when you
No, we
me.
haven't.
Yeah.
But let's tell everybody.
Um, well, the Noetic Science Institute, which was founded by Edgar Mitchell.
Dr. Norm Shealy. He's a neurosurgeon. He's a founder of the Shealy Soren Wellness Institute and the founder of the holistic medicine.
Yeah, and then he also endorsed my book. The Norman Shealy endorsed the forward.
And
Here,
yep,
Mitchell founded the Noetic Science Institute, which is a really amazing company, organization. So I'm one of the only medical intuitive psychics that has been double blinded tested by lots of people. So anyway, what were you asking me?
Edgar
Yeah,
Cayce.
Edgar Casey is a very famous psychic. He was one of the biggest psychics, prophecy psychic. So when I scan people, I find the root cause of why they're sick. And so, in order to be endorsed by these organizations, they put you through lots of testing. And they found that I find everything in people's bodies that's wrong with them and the root cause.
What do you find that the root causes are physical or emotional? Because the more I learn about our health, the more I find that sometimes we're sick because our emotions are making us sick and our body is reacting to the emotions of it rather than the material, what we're putting in our body or what we're exposed to.
I find people mostly can be sick from both. And I find
Yeah.
that people have people like me that can help you. Maybe there's not as many people like me that actually can find the root cause, but I feel that you can eat a great diet, but also many people go to things like in my book, I talk about I don't like coffee enemas, I don't like detoxing.
Mhm.
There's most of the clients that I work with are very ill and have emotional traumas too that go on. But I do find the root cause of why somebody may have breast cancer or the root cause of why that somebody has certain illnesses and also that you can be healed fast. You don't have to suffer.
Do you think that we have the capacity to heal ourselves? Do you think that through meditation, through tapping into other dimensions, that we have the capacity to heal ourselves more than we think we do?
I mean, I don't know if it's healing ourselves. I feel we can tap into a higher energy and actually heal ourselves with the omnipresent.
With all your experience with speaking to people from the other side and your intuitive gifts, what do you think the nature of our reality is here?
I think it's to learn to honor each other. I think that we've lost a lot of respect for our world. I think the respect for each other is not working out. I think the respect for our planet is not working out. So I think there's just a lot of respect and kindness not here for humanity,
Yeah.
um, and understanding that everybody's life is important. Everybody's journey is important. But right now, people don't really honor that. Every single person that comes to me, I honor their energy. I honor who they are. And right now, people don't honor people. We can raise humanity and we can learn to live in this higher fifth dimensional energy that leads the path to the wonder of vibrant self and fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people have you healed? Hundreds of people from all different types of things that run the gamut from a muscle pain to a heart condition, or what mainly are you healing people from? Does it just
It's funny you asked that because I was going through my files the other day and it's like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands,
wow.
but I'm not doing it. I cannot take any credit for any of it. I am just, it's like a triangle and there's God, omnipresent, um, whatever you want to call the energy of the God, Allah, Om, universal consciousness, Christ consciousness. In my book, I refer to God as the Christ consciousness. Um, And then there's me over here, and then you over here, and this is right in the front of my book is the triangle. And,
Yes.
so I'm over here, many people will come up to me and go, "Meredith," and, they come up and, like, wanna, like, make me like the guru or the, you know, spiritual
The God of it all,
I'm a
yeah.
spiritual teacher, yes, and when there is like a big goiter or a big tumor and it is dismissed off and it is gone, you could feel it's me because I'm the one putting my hand on you. And when you get your labs back and you're completely healed, and this is when you're in that higher dimension, you're in that Harry Potter dimension,
Yeah.
and you say, I am love, I am light, I am healed. This is something I'm really good. Like that's what I was born to do.
And when you say when as a child, you also were an intuitive and an empath, what kind of experiences were you having as a child?
When I was little, well, I had the fluttering with my eyes. I was blinking
Mhm.
and I was healing my grandmother. My German grandmother had really bad asthma and she was born in Iowa and they moved to Long Beach. And my mom and dad separated when I was little. And so I was at my grandmother's a lot around her. Thank God. And I was healing her a lot and I would write a lot. I was always a writer. My cousin was a famous writer. She wrote a lot with Allen Ginsberg. And
Wow.
yeah, she's hung out with Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg. But I remember I would write a lot. Like I would see a lot of poetry. We had a lot of writing around the house. And so I would write like a lot on the floor and I would write notes around the house all the time. But the notes I would write were disturbing to my grandmother because I would write stuff like, I would see my other grandmother that was passed away, and I would write stuff like, um, "Don't die," and I would write and this
Oh,
at 4 years old, or "I see grandma in the corner," and I would write
wow.
messages like paranormal messages to her, and she was disturbed about it, and I would say stuff like, "June," I'd get into her face, like, really young, and I'd say, "I'm reincarnated." And I would like show her my hands and say, "See these hands? They forgot to change them."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of skeptics? You get people that push back on you or don't believe that you have any gifts? Or what do you say to people out there that disregard your ability to heal? What happens in those cases?
It's funny. I like after like now it's like 9 years now. Um, I really don't so much get that. Maybe now,
Oh,
maybe now and then somebody might say something, but I haven't really had too much because they are healed and they are witnessing it. And if they do, it doesn't really bother me too much because I know who I am and I know that it's not me. It's the Holy Spirit. It's the omnipresent coming through. And because I know that they're using me because it's not who I was before. Because after I had the accident, and I hear what they're saying, I know how long we have here and I know what we're here to do. And I know the messages are so strong. I just stay focused
yeah.
because we are
Yeah.
very limited in our time and they have me on a mission.
Life is short. There is no doubt about that. What in your opinion, with your experiences, what happens to us when we die? What do you think happens?
Yeah, I've seen it and I know it. We have to take very big responsibility for our mission right now when we're here on earth because when we pass, we can
Transition.
we can come back and we can work from the other side. My next book is about the eight, which is the infinity sign, the eight, because I do a lot of soul
Yep.
see, and because they come back all the time. I can hear them right now talking while we're here. So we can come back and work from the other side to help, or we can, if we're not good and we are not doing as a goodwill as we should, then of course we're not coming back again.
Mhm. Near-death experiences fascinate me. Um, I really believe truly that I we are all beings of light, that we do not die, that um we are spirit having a human experience. We don't have a soul. We are a soul basically in a meat bag or whatever this body that you want to say, this material body that we're living in. And when you speak to people that are on the other
Yeah.
side, what kind of perspective can you give people about when you're speaking to people from the other side? Do they speak of their what do they say? Tell us.
Yeah. First of all, I love talking to them. I love speaking to family members on the other side. And I enjoy speaking to the ascending masters. They love coming through to speak to me. You should definitely come out to one of my events. I think you'll really enjoy it. My next event,
Absolutely will.
yeah, my next event is at Liberate Yourself, which is in Sherman Oaks, LA. It's going to be really fun. Yeah. So the family members that crossed over. So here's the situation. Okay. Everybody's different with their own consciousness. So I do classes about this. So this is a long conversation. So when we cross, not everybody's going to come back. So some people reincarnate, some people come back as ascending angels, some are archangels, some people just stay on the other side and we're not going to reincarnate, but they like to come in and just talk to family members and they stay in the afterlife. I don't want to get into people that are bad and have bad
Mm,
karma right now. That's something I don't want to talk about on this podcast. But there are people
okay.
that are naughty. So those naughty people, that's another episode. We could talk about that too. The
I'd love to actually.
naughty people, yeah. And I do actually do a lot of work called cord cutting and inner childhood trauma work because I was a child abuse survivor. And that is another story. But family members, They love to come in. They love to do the medical reading too. They're worried about their children. They like to say, "Oh, you're not eating right," or "Oh, you've got your mitral valve is not working right. So you need to get to the doctor." So this is something that is actually kind of hilarious because I'll be doing a reading. Edgar Casey's coming in, and all of a sudden I'll hear mom. I'll say, "Is your mom's name Mary?" And they'll say, "Yes." I'll say, "Your mom's here and she's worried about you and your heart condition." And that's really endearing because the person maybe misses their mother or something like that. So, and then their mother didn't choose or whatever their contract was to be reincarnated, but they're on the other side, enjoying the other side because it's beautiful, but coming back as her angel, her guardian angel. So that's very interesting how this all works out. Even like John Lennon. Now, I've had contact with Lennon who didn't
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
who did not reincarnate, but I've worked with some celebrities that say, "I feel him with me in my work," and Lennon will come in. I'm getting chills right now because I don't wanna call Lennon and write it.
I do. Come on in, John.
But when I call them in, they come in fast. But that happens. Yesterday, I did an animal communication class. It was so amazing. I love communicating with animals.
I do want to ask you if you had to choose what was the most profound healing that you had given to somebody. Do you have like a story that is the most profound one that you'd like to share with everyone?
Oh gosh. I have a lot of them I love. I love my life. I loved my life before. I love my work, but I really love what I do now so much. And in my book, I have 3 of them that I really love. I love my breast miracle. I love my child, Miranda. And I love the police firefighter that went into 9/11 several times and pulled out people from there. I feel like Miranda,
Uh-huh.
my child, she was born with gastrointestinal issues that were really bad. And her mother found out about me from doing a healing on somebody with cancer from the office, but didn't know what to do with her daughter. And she's been going to school and having extreme issues and not being able to go to the bathroom and play with kids. And they came into the office and didn't tell me anything. You never do. You fill out a form. And she was very just adorable. I think she was around 4 or 5 and just so sweet, so cute. And she laid on the table and I did the scanning, like, I'm scan like I'm blind, just go over the body. They didn't tell me anything. The guides knew exactly where to go. And they said, the mom said, "Whatever you want to do." So I did this hands on surgery and she opened her hands, she held the little crystals, and she started saying the prayers. And she said, "I am love, I am light, I am love, I am light, and I love God, I love healing." And she was saying stuff like that. And I went across
Mhm.
and they started blinking where they wanted me to go in and just very lightly put back her intestinal tract the right way in her colon. And I kept hearing in my left ear where they wanted me to go. And it was very gently. I kind of went in a circle and kind of moved it around. And it was very easy, maybe like 3 minutes. And then she smiled, she looked at me, and then I put an ice pack on. And then they went home. And then they came in for a second time, and the mother came in and she showed me the ultrasound from the doctor, and she says she's healed. And I said, "This has been like since birth. She has not been able to have bowel movements. She's been problems with school, throwing up." And I said, "This is amazing." She goes, "Yeah, every day." So she left. She was saying, "I love Kimberly. I love my healing." And she said that when she had gone home, she was a little bit not feeling so good. And then the next 2 days, she was feeling great. And
Wow.
and she was crying, the mom. Then about a year later, I had another visit, and then her dad was very critically sick at UCLA. He was in some sort of a coma. I can't remember all the
Uh-huh.
details. And they called me, and I do Zooms into hospitals. When they zoomed me into the hospital, and I did one recently again, but with this particular family, and we started praying, and he came out of a coma.
Wow. That is impressive. Wow. Well, I can't wait. I'd love to schedule a healing with you and see. I
I'm
was
not
sick for like a decade and I'm still trying to climb up the hill. I'm a lot better than I used to be. And I've revamped everything from my diet to the way I live to everything. But I'm definitely not 100 yet. And maybe, just maybe, with your assistance, I could get to that point. I'd love that.
Yeah, I feel like it's understanding that this book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, is really a book about awakening to your own life, your own healing, understanding that we all can be healed. We can be healed fast. It's about understanding you have the right to your own miracle healing. You understand you are a multidimensional being. You can understand that it's having a healing through us, you and me, the energy of the omnipresent, but also everybody can do this, not just Kimberly. You can do this.
Well, I am hoping to heal 100% in this lifetime, and maybe, maybe you're the ticket I need, Kimberly Meredith. Well, how can people reach out to you if they want to? You mentioned that you do Zoom healings. Is this something where, somebody in Nebraska, if they're having issues with any kind of
Yeah.
medical concerns, can they Zoom you and you do sessions across the country, or how does your practice work?
Yeah. We have a website called thehealingtrilogy.com, The Healing Trilogy. And you sign up on our newsletter, you get a free little gift. I did a CD with Stephen Halpern. He's a Grammy Award musician. You get 3 tracks of our healing CD, and then you're on our mailing list, and you'll find out about all our events we're doing. Also, you'll see my appointment scheduling, which is Zoom and office sessions. And you can look at our events that we have going on. We have a lot of free events that we do, healing circles, and all kinds of fun things that we have going on with our healing ministry.
Well, I know you're a busy girl. You are on television, you do multiple podcasts, you are all over the place. Everybody wants to talk to you these days, Kimberly. So I'm very, very thankful that you took the time to come and tell me your story and how you heal people. And I really, really hope that you continue to do the work. If I've learned anything so far, it's that anybody who has this sort of transformation, whether it be a near death experience or whatever happens, many, many people end up learning that they are here to serve others and that serving others is what is going to bring you closer to source and closer to your soul purpose. And I'm honoring the fact that you absolutely are helping people and giving of your time. And I love that you're a healer and I hope you heal me one day. Let's schedule a session.
Well, I also want to say that I don't want anyone to feel bad, or feel like you're stuck right now, because it's a hard time. So reach out. If you feel depressed, or if you feel like you're hopeless or anything, reach out to somebody, get into somebody's back pocket and know that, I've had my fair share of pain, and don't stay in pain. Don't stay and don't be alone right now. There are people like me. I'm not expensive. I keep my rates low, and I'm here for you. I know what it's like to feel pain. And I want to make sure you understand, getting in the fifth dimension is not hard. I know it may seem like it is, but it's not that difficult to get into that dimension. And once you get in it, it is really cool and easy. And then you get in that routine, and then you start feeling really great. And this is where we're going. We can't stay in the 3D world anymore. We're in getting in that fifth dimensional vibe, and it feels great, and you can do it. So thank you so much for having me on your amazing show, and I will be seeing you soon.
Yes, you will, Kimberly. I will be seeing you
Thank
soon.
you.
And thanks, everybody. Thanks to Kimberly Meredith. And that is a wrap on this episode of Fate. And we will see you guys soon. Take care, everybody. And that is a wrap on episode 10, The Miracle of Kimberly Meredith. Now, there's a lot to unpack in that episode. And I know some of you are probably saying to yourself, really? She lays hands on people and she heals them. It seems very outside the realm of possibility. And I can completely and totally understand that train of thought. All I can say is this: I met Kimberly at an expo. I sat in on one of her healing sessions, and she was healing a woman that had some sort of stomach uh, growth, tumor, something. And I watched the entire scanning process occur. I watched the healing process. I even volunteered, because she does bring up volunteers to help you lay hands on them and send them your own energy, positivity, strength to enable the healing to occur. I went up and did that. Afterwards, I saw that same woman in the restroom, and she was kind of surrounded by the other women talking about what had happened in the session and if she had really felt healed. And I walked over there and listened in. And she said she had never felt anything like it. She said that she had a little ice pack on her stomach. She was going to go home. She was going to rest, and that she felt something going on. She felt different. She was going to go to the doctor. I am under the impression of this. I think that our beliefs have a lot to do with what happens in our world. And I think that if you believe that it's possible, that if somebody lays your hand on you and you can be healed, I think that the mind is a very strong thing. I think that energy healing is a real thing. And I think that if you are open to it, there is a much better chance that something like that can happen to you. I also believe that your belief system, that if you are not open to something like that, I don't believe your mind, your body will respond accordingly. And I'm still new in this game. I thought it was fascinating. I would be willing to go and sit with Kimberly and have a healing because I am open to that kind of thing. I do think there's so much more going on in our world that we are not aware of, and I like to keep an open mind, especially when it comes to healing. There really isn't anything, as I have said before, that I haven't done to try and heal myself, nor that I wouldn't do to try and heal myself, including sitting with Kimberly Meredith and having a session with her. I am 100% on board. And I feel that although I don't understand how it works, I don't understand how a lot of things work. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that it's not, that she's not capable of doing so. There is something going on there. She has been through many different trials. Many people have come back and said she has healed them. And so I would like to think that there are things out there greater than us that use us as maybe some sort of vessel to do good in the world. And maybe she does have these gifts. Maybe she is able to tap into another dimension. And I'm hoping that if you were able to get through the episode and you got to the end, that you can at least think that there's a possibility. You know, the biology of belief, there's a lot of research going on that your mind truly is something that we don't really understand, and that your belief system and what you're open to can dictate a lot of what happens. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to sit with her. And when I do, I will come back and talk about it. And I will give you my honest thoughts on the session and how I feel. and if it did anything to help me. So all you can do in life is be open-minded. If you're not open-minded, you're going to lock yourself out of a lot of things in life because whether it be learning, whether it be experiences, whether it be new people, new things in life, I just feel like being open-minded, and you don't have to believe everything in the world, but being curious enough to explore everything with an open mind, with a sense of curiosity, and with a sense that there's possibilities out there beyond us that we need to open ourselves up to and acknowledge. And I think she's a bit of a miracle. And miracles come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. And I think Kimberly has something that allows her to tap into a dimension and heal people. And I'm on board with that. And I think that if she's helped hundreds or thousands of people get through any kind of health concern, issue, problem, and she has healed, I think that is a good thing in the world, not bad. And I hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you were open and minded enough to maybe y- consider it a possibility at least, you know? Um, Next week on Fate, From Atheism to Enlightenment, I am bringing you Chaplain Jody. We have such a fantastic discussion. We talk about angels. She has a podcast called Survivor Angels. It's out there on YouTube, it's wherever you find your podcast. She is an empath and intuitive. She's been a chaplain for 30 years. She has done the research, and she comes on and tells me all about angels, what they do to help us, how you can tap into your own angels and activate them. And I really hope you come back for that episode because I truly enjoyed our discussion. I loved her. I think she will be back on the show. And I think me and Chaplain Jody are going to be fast friends. Me, the atheist. So join me next week, guys. I hope you keep tuning in and listening. And I'm going to be bringing you hopefully more and more exciting guests, and I'm going to get better and better at this. If you want to follow the show, you can follow me on Instagram at Fate Podcast. It's F.A.T.E. podcast. Join me on YouTube at my Fate channel. It's at Fate F.A.T.E. channel on YouTube. I post clips of the show. You can comment. I will try and get back to you. I am a very busy woman during the week and on the weekend, so it's hard for me to be super interactive, but I do what I can when I can. Uh, Other than that, guys, you can reach out to Kimberly Meredith yourself for a healing. She is at thehealingtrilogy.com, www.thehealingtrilogy.com. She's on Instagram at meredith.kimberly. And she's on all the social medias. If you want to see her on YouTube, it's Kimberly Meredith Channels the Holy Spirit. So check her out. Tap into your own healing. Reach out if you're having any kind of issues. There is absolutely nothing that she's going to do to harm you. I can tell you that. So it would only be in a healing and helping capacity. And I highly encourage you to open your mind and go for it. With that, guys, I will see you next week on the Fate podcast. And I hope you keep turning in and having a good time. I am. We'll see you next week. Journey well, everyone. Take care.